How did you come up with the idea of the touched people within the book? For those who aren't familiar, the things that stand out to me that make them different from like regular humans, so to speak, are longer lifespan, some magic ability, and then the good old fancy pointed ears.
Yeah, so the touched are basically an analog for elves, very common in fantasy. And what I was thinking about was okay, if, but not everybody, it's a mixed society. So there's the touched, and then there's people with common blood, is how it's phrased. And it seemed clear to me that if we have a society with some people who are touched, that they would kind of be elevated into this leadership position. But then I kind of asked, like, why would that be the case? And that's sort of dealt with in the story, especially in the latter half, is, just because people have certain abilities or live longer, they're given this prestige. Is that earned or is that owed to them? So that's something we get a little bit into. And writing wise, it was a departure for me. In previous work, you had a similar thing with, people with abilities. It makes for a fun story. Where in previous work, I had that where that was something you could learn. Anyone could be one of those people. Whereas this was more classic, like you're born with this sort of special ability. So it was just something I wanted to explore, and I used a more familiar format for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I really liked how in the story how we grapple with the earned versus owed,
Mm-hmm.
and how there is a little bit of merit, right? That if you live longer, you have like more time to build wisdom. Like
Yep.
that makes sense. But is that enough? Does that automatically beget you a leadership position? Like, no, someone could live long and still be like a poor choice to be, in charge, and someone could be young and be an excellent leader. So I really liked how you grappled with it, and there isn't necessarily like a super defined, clear cut, like, okay, we've made this decision, we're moving on, but like the
Mm-hmm.
characters do address